Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 25th day of June, 2019. Well, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you've come back, thank you so much. Click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that, and check out the blog, Stepping Aside, over at imsteppingaside.com. The Aries Moon post is up, so you might find some interesting things in there. It's not your traditional lunar transit, so it's a little more oriented toward magic and all of that. So at least I think it is. That's my intention anyway. Just to give some information. Yeah, there's a little bit of, stuff about the lunar transits itself and the aspects and all of that. But realistically, it's geared toward what you can do in magical rituals. So anyhow. So today is a 7 energy day. 7 is a numerological depiction of balance or scales. 7 and 13 I regard as numbers for magic or witch numbers. The 7s are also about divinity, balancing shadow side with spirit. So maybe today will be a day where you do that. Keep that in mind at the very least. Things start to feel a little dicey, Take a moment, go to your still point, and align in who you truly are, which is spirit. The body is just an illusion. The body's just a place for spirit to do its thing while it's here, basically. So we need to begin there in our perceptions, begin in source vision, in spirit vision, instead of ego vision. And hopefully what we do here every day, well, not every day, but 4 days a week anyway, Monday through Thursday, what we do here on those days hopefully will help guide us in that direction. So let's get started. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13. So I take the 13th card each time and I draw between 3 and 4 cards if you haven't been here before. 13, I was born on the 13th, and it figures prominently in my life in so many other ways. So I just do that. If I'm going to do a random card, I just take the 13th card each time. Well, here we have the Lovers, the 6th card from the Major Arcana, the Soul Archetype card depicting, again, balance, polarity, masculine and feminine. But you see, it's not just on the horizontal plane, which is the masculine and feminine type of polarity that we're trying to balance, but we're also looking at the vertical plane with the angel above, hovering right above that mountain as it reaches up to spirit. So there you're looking at the physical, or I should say the vertical plane of spirit and form. But again, it can mean it's about harmony. Sixes, when you get up to the 6s and the 8s, you're talking a higher self or soul level of harmony, where you start to understand that there's more than just you in the world, and that really you're part of the greater aspect of the creator. And so when you start looking at the 6s and the 8s have more responsibility and more leadership, but basically, so it's an even more expansive level of harmony that you're dealing with. But just like yesterday, we had the 6 of Pentacles, and there you saw someone of means handing out money to people without means. And so there you're showing shared abundance. And in many respects, the Lovers is showing the same thing, shared abundance. A closer look at the card, in a sense, depicts Adam and Eve. You have the tree of knowledge behind Eve, if you want to look at it that way. You see the snake of wisdom, the serpent of wisdom, of knowledge, coiling up around behind her. Because she has the strength to understand that wisdom is ours, and that it's not something that is conferred upon us. It's part of our own sovereignty. And so that's why the serpent visited Eve and not Adam. Behind Adam, you see the oak leaves, you see the oak tree there. And in a sense, it represents the continual theme of pillars or a doorway into new experiences. And here, it's just a doorway into harmony. Let's do another card. Oops, 11, 12, 13. Well, here we're challenged by that with the Three of Swords. Here you see the clouds behind, there's rain coming down. The heart is out in front with three swords piercing it, two behind the one in the center, though. So here we're talking betrayal and jealousy. Threes are catalytic. They're also about mind, body, spirit in alignment. So it's a definite vertical sort of harmony as opposed to the horizontal plane. It's more of the vertical plane of spirit form. But here something has really happened, and here the ego has gotten in the way, and there's been some conflict and some jealousy, some betrayal. Can also be looked at as the drama triangle. Now, 6 and 3 is 9, so that's completion. So there's a sense of completion. So it's possible that the 3 needs to come first, the 6 next. So we'll try that for a moment and see what that feels like. You know, when in your readings, especially if they're random ones, and even if they're not, even if you're using an established spread, move your cards around. You know, it's very rare that you need them to be in the order in which you put them down. So if I were to just simply lay out 3 cards, it doesn't mean that they need to stay in that order, unless, well, and even then, probably not. But unless, say, you're doing past, present, and future. I mean, if you're truly defining, it's like, okay, this card's going to represent the past. That might be one thing. But the rest of them, you know, you can move these things around. They tell a story, and they need to make sense. And so it just makes no sense at all that you're locked into a particular order. So I never am. And if we moved it around, see that we have a 3, then a 6. And so we've gone from the catalytic imbalance here that created a drama triangle of sorts. And then we came into full clarity and awareness with the 6, which is higher self-informing that with the Lovers. So I think we're going to leave it in this order. I don't think we're going to digress, in other words. I think we're going to move in a positive direction here. So we've resolved the drama triangle, and we've understood that spirit's got to inform this, and that we have to lay down these arms, basically, that we've, whatever this conflict is, either walk away from those individuals that are causing it, or to try to find a balance between all of it, or to find your own balanced perspective in all of it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if there's 3 people involved here in the 3 of Swords, that's necessarily by virtue of the Lovers that the 3 people came back together. It could just simply mean that the person who's represented by the sword in the center has just developed a better balanced perspective about all of it. Let's do a third card. Well, I'm going to set these down here. Okay, so we have the 9. I'm comfortable with the order here. Here we have a guy who's been through battle. Now, he's looking. It's like a furtive glance behind, right? He's looking there. He's not quite sure. Maybe he's not trusting the staffs behind him. This is the suit of wands, or the fire element representing our will, creativity, manifestation. He's holding on for dear life, though, to his own staff, kind of resting on it. There's a sense of completion, like whatever this is, it's over. But at the same time, it may be victory, but it's one that's uneasy, isn't it? Well, I threw that card on the floor. I'm going to put it in the center. I'm going to go 3, 9, 6. Or I'm going to leave the lovers on the outside. I'm going to do a 4th card because I think that maybe the 9 should come after that 3. We've had the drama triangle, and now we've got sort of an easy truce, or an uneasy truce rather, with the 9. But there's a sense of completion or fulfillment. So the battle's over. Whatever was going on in the 3 that started it, it's likely that the feeling I have, again, because these staffs are behind him, it sort of mirrors the other 2 swords that are piercing the heart that are actually behind that other one. Let me show you what I mean. You see how in the, you see these 2 swords behind, okay? They really are behind, there we go. They are behind the other sword, okay? So things are going on behind your back, okay? Things are happening behind the scenes that you don't know about, and you're having to defend against. And this has the same feeling, doesn't it? Like, okay, we're done, but are we? Are we really? Are we really done? So I'm going to do a 4th card, though, I think, because I think we might need there might be a little more information here before we actually get to the lovers. I forgot to turn the air conditioning on before I started. My husband's outside, so I can't yell for him. Crone issues. I'll tell you what I do at night. And I didn't do it last night, I forgot. But I do a little tincture cocktail of maybe 10 drops each of, I have a menopause tincture, a crone tincture I made, and it's got, what has it got in it? Licorice root, dong quai, St. John's wort, and black cohosh. So that's one. And then I do 10 drops of nettle, 10 drops of vitex, and 10 drops of maca root tincture. And I make all of these. Anyway, I do that in just in a little shot glass. And so it's just a little bit of, it's not, I mean, we're talking drops, okay, of tincture, herbal tinctures. Anyhow, so I do 10 drops of each, and then I fill the shot glass up with warm water, and I drink it. I just drink it down. And I don't have any issues at night. I don't have any menopausal issues, any night sweats, hot flashes, whatever you want to call it. I don't have any sleep disturbances when I do that. Of course, I really didn't have any last night, but you know, once it gets in you, maybe you can miss a night or something, but you don't really want to miss any more than that, you know, when you're in the throes of all of it. But I can tell you, it's the difference between, you know, waking up my husband by throwing the covers off and not. So that's what I do at night, and I don't, because I don't believe in the HRT stuff. I don't, no way. I'm not a supplement person unless I create them using herbal teas or tinctures. You know, then I'll create my own supplements if you want to call them that. But I prefer not to do the chemically based stuff. I'm just not into that. It scares me. Anyway, let's do our last card. My cards are finally starting to shuffle right. Or it's my hands. I didn't put any lotion on them after I washed my hands after being out in the garden, so they still got, I don't know, they're weird. Well, we have the seven of pentacles, and I think I'm glad I did this. Again, it mirrors today, the energy of today, 7, balance. And in a way, let me set the cards down here. What we have, I think it's the same guy, and he does like my husband does. My husband will be out whatever he's doing with a shovel or what have you, if he's out irrigating or digging somewhere or whatever. Sometimes he'll just stop and he'll stand. He'll lean on the shovel. He'll just stand and look. he'll think. And you're like, what are you doing? But that's what he's doing. He's just standing and taking a rest. He's just looking around, and thinking about what he's going to do or what have you. Every time I do this, I think about my husband. It looks just like him, especially the 7. Here, he's just kind of taking a look. He's taking stock, isn't he, at what he's got. He's not really doing that though in the 9. There, he's a little more, worried about things. But here we see a progression between the betrayal to an end to the conflict, even if it's an uneasy feeling about it. But now let's put the Lovers next. But something has occurred where spirit has come in and said, okay, look, you need to have a broader perspective here. Whatever this conflict was, it's an illusion, and in reality, we need to be in harmony, both mind, body, spirit, and also the polarity, between us all, between within, however you want to see it. We're still continuing yesterday's theme of the whole cross, which we talked about there. We saw that on the high priestess on her gown. She has a cross on the center chest part of her gown, and how we defined that yesterday is basically keeping spirit, the vertical plane in balance with the horizontal plane, and the vertical plane is spirit and ego, or spirit and the physical form. And then on the horizontal plane, once we're here, we're talking about balanced polarity. But it isn't just balanced polarity within, it's the balance we keep with one another. To see all of this as one expression, one unified expression, in a sense, the microcosm, if you will, of the macrocosm of Source or of the Creator. So I think that's what we'll do, though. I think we'll do, so there's 6 and 3 is 9, or yeah, 6 and 3 is 9, 9 and 9 is 18, that's 9. 9 and 7 is what, 16? Is that right? Yes, that's 16. And then that's 7. So overall, so we have a 7 energy for the whole reading as far as the cards are concerned. And that aligns with today. So it's bringing that whole thing again back into balance and understanding that it's not just polarity. It's not just the polarity on the horizontal plane. It's not just masculine and feminine within. It's spirit versus form, because we begin there. And the form itself is an illusion or a projection of thought, essentially, of the Creator. So that's interesting. Let's do a rune. I think that we get caught up in this whole masculine and feminine thing, and we see that playing out, today as as just this massive push on the part of patriarchy to tamp down any kind of equality. What did I read? I read some comment. Gosh, was it from a woman too? That if we have equality, Christians are gonna die or something. I don't know. It was some weird thing. There was another one that if Trump isn't reelected, Christians will die. Really? I don't understand. We'll let there we go. I've got one here. Oh, we have Nathis. And Nathis is the 10th rune of the Elder Futhark. So energetically, we're talking new beginnings. It's the friction within to manifest, the fire within. It's a Norn rune, one of the 3 Norn runes, Haglaz, Nathis, and Isa. It's the rune of the future. So it's about what we're going to manifest. Now, if we put this first and we ask ourselves, what are we going to manifest? You know, are we going to manifest some conflict? Are we going to manifest jealousy? Are we going to do things that harm people and put people in a place they don't need to be? Because that's really what's going on in the 3. If we go to the 9, at that point, we've seen that that sort of has come to an end. Now we could put the Lovers before that, and we could say, okay, we've balanced some things. We've come to some realization about who and what we truly are, and what that is in terms of the greater, you know, unified consciousness that we're all part of. And then once we do that, then we come to the 9, where we are now sort of we're done with this conflict, but we're not really sure. See, and that's why I think it's got to come after the 3. And then we come to the Lovers, where maybe the true healing takes place. Because really, realistically, the Lovers heals the distortion. It heals the separation, the perception of separation. You know, we see different people and oh my gosh, we're afraid of them. You know, we don't see the other side of self, we see the other. And what the Lovers seeks to do is to heal that rift, that perception of a rift. It's not real, it's not true, and yet we make it true every single day. And then when we do that, we can get back to some kind of balance, can't we? Balanced effort, balanced result. And we can get back to, you know, the really important things of life instead of the petty squabbles that can happen. So maybe that's what it's talking about. Now, we can put Nathis in between the 9 and the 6. We can put it, yeah, I think I'm comfortable leaving it there because we need some kind of, some kind of impetus, maybe. You know, because here in the 9, you know, we're just kind of standing there, aren't we? But in fairness, you know, whatever was going on in the 3 of Swords may have been, you know, really upsetting. Swords is intellect, you know, it's our communication. We do this, see, and we start gossiping, we start judging. And, you know, pretty soon, you know, we've hurt somebody's feelings. Maybe we see somebody in a way that is not true. You know, I've had that happen in my life. Well, I'm a witch, so of course it's going to always happen, but you know how that goes. Whether anybody knows you're a witch or not, you sort of give off this vibe or something, I think. And I think, because I know there are people that I barely know these people, and they have decided that I have done X, Y, and Z. I've spent 0 time with them. Maybe I've never even spoken a word other than hello, okay? And they will tell the most amazing stories. They don't know me at all. We really have had minimal contact. Maybe my husband is a friend of their husband or something, you know, that kind of thing. We're just, they're gabbing and we're just standing there, you know, or maybe I laugh at something or whatever. So then all these stories come about. It's like, oh, well, she's this and she's that. But you see how it can result in this. It's like, you know, if you don't know, don't judge. Even if you do know, don't judge. Moral of the story, don't judge. I don't know. Let's do a geomancy rune as the final one here. I'm just going to rub them around here in my hand, roll them around. All right. Now, on one side, if you've never seen geomancy done, on one side you have 1 dot. On the other side, you have 2 dots. It can be done a variety of ways. So you could take a handful of lentils or peas, or beans, or whatever, just throw them down, count them. If it's an odd number, it results in a single dot. If it's an even number that you've grabbed and you've thrown down, then that's going to result in a dual dot. When you do a shield chart out of the whole thing, if you did a whole reading, for example, you do that 4 times, and you would start up here in the right-hand corner. You see where the 1 is. See, it's going to go right to left. And as you can see, these 2 create this one. These 2 can create this one. These 2 create this one. And these 2 create this one. So the first 4 are the ones we do. And then from there, it's just simple combination to do the rest of it. So anyhow, let's see what we come up with. It goes in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. So here we have an air. Let me move these around here. That's going to go second. There's water. There's earth. Wow, and there's fire. Well, the same thing we had yesterday, conjunctio, this one is the same one we have today. So again, reinforcing the notion of unity consciousness, unity with other people, not seeing the other side of self instead, reinforcing the lovers and the harmony felt with that, and the reunion felt with this, because this is also about reunion. You know, it's really about getting our head on straight and understanding who we are and who everyone else is and who we all are together in this thing called that we call the universe and we call creation. Okay. No matter how you want to see this, if we see it any other way, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. It's not that, and we talked about this yesterday, it's not that you want to agree with everybody all the time. You're not, in fact, you might not even like everybody all the time. I mean, do you like everyone in your family? You don't, do you? There's always, you know, one or two that you're just like, oh, Jesus, are they coming to this thing? Really? Well, maybe I won't go. You know, we all have that, right? And basically it's that inner nathes, the inner friction within that allows us to maybe conceive of something another way. It's ideas that arise. It's change that can happen. It's that inner friction that allows us to do something. And when we talk about unity conscious, it's not the same. We're not all the same. No, because there has to be some inner nathes, inner friction, in order to continue on. We talked about that yesterday, where maybe if you had a homogenous type of group where everybody believed the same, then there'd be no innovation. Nothing would ever change. You know, no problems would ever get solved because everyone's got to be of one mindset. So that's not what we're talking about when we talk about unity consciousness. Which there's a diversity within that, of course. And what propels that diversity onward is not these. So that we can progress, in other words. Otherwise, you stay stagnant. You stay in the Isa of it. That's the rune of the present moment, the static realm. We don't want to stay static. We want to keep growing. Well, that takes not these to do that. And sometimes it takes a rebirth, a healing within, so that we can understand the necessity for healing without. And then when all is said and done, we can get back to, you know, gathering our harvest. It's a move towards shared abundance, the reality of what can happen when we understand who and what we all are. Shared abundance isn't necessarily money. It could be, again, as we talked yesterday, it could be sharing of our time, sharing of ourself, sharing of our heart, our commitment to one another. But just having that shared purpose, we can move past all kinds of things that seem insurmountable. And then we can arrive here. It's not perfect, but it's ours together. So anyhow, well, groovy. That's pretty cool. Well, today is a Tuesday, so again, it could be some, you know, unrestrained energy today if you feel that way. And try to, again, align, try to stay in balance, try to balance the Mars energy with the 7 energy, and see if you can't maximize the potential. Use the Nathis within to maximize that potential, and by all means, come together in unity with others. It's much more fun that way, isn't it? Anyhow, well, cool. I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.